Hi, y'all. This is our first table talk of Voices in the Wilderness. We told you we would be here. Here we are.
We did it.
Yes, we figured it out. We figured out how to do the videos and everything like that. Thank you all of our followers. We got like what 400, 450
And counting.
and counting and counting.
Tell your
So
friends.
yes, so thank you so much for liking our page, following us on our page. And again, tell us what is this page about? Y'all tell us.
I think this page is about awareness for things like mental health and homelessness and
Recovery.
all kinds of things, recovery, poverty, and I think this was born out of a need. We had to do something. We had to speak up and say enough is enough on a lot of issues.
Yes.
I think it's just a safe place for everyone to come and not feel alone. Like if you feel like your struggles have been in like an isolated incident where no one else, this is a place where you're going to find out no, a lot of people struggle, and it's a judgment-free zone.
Absolutely a judgment-free zone. This society tends to see things in their backyard that's going on in their community, sweep it under the rug, and we're just getting tired of things getting swept under the rug. There's people that are in the streets, they're homeless. There's people that are in prison that, you know, they have, forgiven
Yes.
themselves. They have took the steps to rehabilitate themselves and their minds and their hearts, and they're still, sitting in prison just rotting away. There's there's people who struggle with mental health illness that we just turn our heads and ignore or just laugh at them and say, "Oh, look at that crazy person." And
People
we,
don't.
yeah,
Yeah, people don't want to acknowledge what makes them uncomfortable.
yes,
I think that like in order to make a real change in the world, you're gonna have to get uncomfortable.
yeah,
Yeah.
You're gonna
talk
have
about it.
to, Yeah, you're gonna have to be uncomfortable. You're gonna have to get kind of weird. Like, I mean, it's just gonna get strange for a minute. But that's how change is made. Is being uncomfortable. There's a lot of things that I don't get about prison reform, but I can tell you I want it. I want people to have basic human rights. I
Me
want
too.
people to have these things. I don't want to see my friends struggle. I don't want to see my friends coming out of these systems more broken than when they went in. Like, change has got to start
In Oklahoma.
in,
Because
in Oklahoma in our
is
backyard.
really, top 10 worst of everything usually. So we all know
Definitely
that.
in the top
Everybody-
10.
Everybody knows those facts. So I think that's
Old
also
Bible
another,
Belt.
Yeah, that's also another reason why I chose to speak up and we are doing this is because Oklahoma over incarcerates women per capita more than any other place in the world.
I think
As of
for,
what, last year or the year before, I think we might have lost that title.
for a long time.
Finally.
Yeah, we finally lost it a couple of years
But
ago.
that doesn't change the fact that we know for a fact that women are being over sentenced, over incarcerated, just, and it's sad.
And for a long time, we were told just to be quiet about it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, even mental illness. I mean, look at it now. Like, there's still that stigma, but the progress that we've made from even I'm gonna say even 5 years ago to now.
Mm-hmm.
But like looking at like when our parents were young, they were just told to be quiet. We don't talk about crazy aunt whoever. Like, oh, that's just how they are. Just don't even look at them. But really, they probably just needed a little bit of help, someone to talk to, and like, my own mom struggled with bipolar and things like that, and as a result, she turned to drugs, and it wasn't good. But because they didn't talk about it, you've got to talk about it. If you like to get sober is so great, and anyone that knows me knows I like say this all the time. Like, to get sober is only a small part. You've got to talk about the things that brought you to your knees and thought only drugs is going to help me.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
That's right. I like
Amen.
that. I like that. All right, for real. Let's talk about it. Let's put it out there. So, if for the ones that are on the page, you've seen that our first episode is of Terri Rhem, who is my best friend. Yeah, she's my best friend, and so my opinions are kind of biased. So we that's why this is a teamwork. I want a person who's never been to prison. I want their perspective, and I want a person who doesn't really know the individuals. I want their perspectives. We want different perspectives and views on the situation.
I'm going to say that I know an article was released. I'm not even going to touch on it that hard, but I know that it really impacted. So I don't know if it impacted you or not, but I know it really hurt Nakia. And as someone that's never been to prison, I know that people are always going to be committed to not understanding the person behind the crime. Like, growing up in small towns, we definitely know that's how it works. You committed a crime, you're a criminal, that's it, go away. Whatever happens to you, happens to you. And that's just not it. People are still human beings. People don't look at the trauma, the substance, the whatever brought you to that point. And I think that listening, because just a little spoiler alert, we already did an interview. But like, I don't have that opinion. I think everyone deserves a chance. I'm not going to say a second chance because I think a chance, no matter how many chances that is, to get their life right. Everyone deserves a happy life. And so reading those hurtful things, the goal for me in this podcast is to teach people, some of these crimes are very
horrific,
sad. Don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, that's the one thing we want our followers to understand. We're not saying these people that we're interviewing are innocent. Mm-hmm. They're right. They don't deserve prison sentence. We're not saying that. For Terri Rhem, for example, she'll be the first to say, "Hey, I deserve to be in here." But was the sentence, right? The time was it a little harsh? Or,
was it like what was offered to this first time offender?
Did the fact that she was a woman have to do with the sentence that she got? That's what we're trying to get. Was 35 years was that fair?
And like,
was that fair?
And also, like, if people can have their opinions, I am not committed to like saying like, no, you will think my way or
absolutely.
Sometimes I come off that way and like, well, I mean, sometimes I get a little passionate.
Yeah.
But like, also, at the end of the day, if we can take those closed-minded people who think, toss them in, throw away the key, if we can even plant the idea of like, am I thinking wrong? I've already achieved what I wanted.
And that's all we want. That's all we want. That's all we want, to be open-minded about the situation, about prison reform. And prison reform, that's a hard subject because when the victims, I personally, being a product of prison, like, I was in prison. I did 8 years. We do need to care about the victims.
Yes.
Their opinion does matter. That's the first that matters, is their opinion. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the individual that is incarcerated, we also have to sit there and think, how old were they when they were incarcerated? We got to look at the details of the case. And is this person a monster, or is this a person, a human being, who is able to be rehabilitated and be an honest civilian in society?
Is this person in a state of meth-induced psychosis like I was when I got arrested and sent to prison?
Right.
Don't even remember my first 2 weeks in jail.
Exactly, because with Terri Rhem, with her case, her mind was, we need to get this money so we can sit there and get high. It wasn't, what they
hurt this guy.
Yeah, it wasn't what the media made it seem to be.
And, And also, when did we start losing? And I mean, I know, like, everybody can put their judging pants on. I do it. Everybody's going to judge somebody at some point. But like, when did it turn into like, if someone commits a crime, they're like, oh, like calling her a wannabe model and all these things. Like, she committed a crime.
I think that speaks for itself.
Yeah.
In Oklahoma, 2009. This is how they were. I mean, the comments on the Amanda's Law thing, it really got me upset. That's what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Because we loved Amanda, and then you had all these comments on the Tulsa World article.
I think it just shows that people need to be educated. People need to know that, people can commit some pretty ugly crimes. But what's the story behind the crime? Not saying that they still shouldn't be punished for the crime, but also educate yourself and decide, I'm going to say, yes, this person deserved prison time, but also I'm going to acknowledge that this person is a human being that probably has been very hurt.
Mm-hmm. And we can get this person help.
Yeah.
And that's the problem in the system, is you throw people in a building, to the wolves, to be warehoused, to rot, And here's the thing.
Expect
This is
them
what
to
I've
come out
always
rehabilitated.
and expect them to come out. Not, but you know what? The justice system. I'm just going to say it. The such justice system is so corrupt. They don't expect them to come out rehabilitated. They expect them to come out and mess up again because we're money. Mm-hmm. We're money. We are sitting down and we're rotting, but we're putting money into their pockets, so they know there's most likely you're going to get out. You're going to go back to your environment. You're going to get back on drugs, and you're going to sit there and you're going to commit that robbery a second time, and we're going to get you back. Well, we need the money.
To the homelessness, like, you know, I mean, we can say that finding housing for people, like, you tell these people to come out of prison, get a job, do right, get housed, and then they can't because their criminal background. So again, Oklahoma, if you're going to say get out and do right, allow them to get out and do right. Like, give them the... And I'm not saying that they're not. Like, because I am also going to say this. Oklahoma is working to be more, I guess, felon-friendly in some areas. We know, based off, you know, just like what we do. Like, felons can be hired. Not everywhere is on board yet, but I think the goal is eventually it'll be more felon-friendly. And that's my hopes, I guess. My hopes. The goal for me, personally, is that it's going to be more felon-friendly. You know, as far as housing, people can't get on Section 8 if they have a felony. People can't get on certain things if they have felonies. So tell me again how they're supposed to make their life better.
It's all meant. The system is just meant for us to fail. Set up for failure. So, and that's just like for prison reform. You know, I've like I said, I did 8 years, and all I seen was women that were sitting on their bunks with deep wounds that were just rotting instead of healing. Because you'll talk to, you know, people that are employed in DLC or that they work as officers, and they'll say, yeah, we have classes, we have that, but I only know of one, and the program just recently came about in the prison. I'm very thankful for that program because I've seen a change in my friends that are on the inside that are part of that program. They have changed tremendously. Don't know what the program's called. I'll get back on y'all on that later, but it's a phenomenal program. But when I was there, the programs were a joke. I attended probably 3, and they were all faith-based, and they helped me. And Women in Transition was one. Helped me out. I took that class probably like 4 times and got something different out of it every time I took it. But they need more intense rehabilitation programs instead of just having, you know, locking up an addict and having them sit down without help. What's going to happen? They're going to come out an addict. They're going to go back to what they know, and they're going to come back to prison because the problem never got handled. There was never any rehabilitation. That's what's going to happen every time. Now, the justice system knows that. But back on Terri Rhem, you know, we kind of got off subjects because we're a little passionate. So, but back on Terri, the first episode that we did, I'm excited.
Okay.
So I got some articles, about her. We read up about it and how the news portrayed these 4 individuals. What I'm reading right here is would-be model and 3 men reach plea deals in 2009 Oklahoma City slaying. Would-be model. And you read one that said wannabe model. Wannabe model. Mm-hmm. How y'all feel about that?
How I feel about it.
Do we have time?
I mean, it wasn't. Of course, a man wrote the article. You know.
Does anyone know?
No, Nolan Clay wrote this. Now,
let me see who wrote the other one. Hold on. Let's put everyone on blast.
Yeah,
it sounded like they were trying to just make her guilty right out the gate.
A pretty girl set up a robbery, and shame on her, basically.
And, she seduced all these men into doing this crime with her
Gazette staff.
Yeah. Well, this Jezebel of a woman seduced these 3 men to sit there and commit this robbery, and somebody ended up dead.
Somebody, and she didn't even pull the trigger.
She didn't even know. And this is the thing, when y'all hear when y'all hear her interview, she didn't know weapons was involved. She went in that and with the mind of an addict, planning to rob somebody for their money so she can go get high. So should she have went to prison? Yes. Should she have gotten 35 years if she didn't go in there with a murderous heart? No.
And I'm sorry, I guess like struggling 23-year-old drug addict doesn't sound as catchy to me.
Yeah.
Thank
you,
a
man.
struggling
Pointing that out.
23-year-old drug addict.
That makes it sound more human. So
That makes it more sound human. Yeah,
Megan. Some people don't view women as human.
just call it what it is. She was a struggling 23-year-old drug addict.
Yeah, and that's hard. That's hard and again, we go back to the uncomfortableness. People don't want to feel uncomfortable. People are comfortable hating a pretty girl. Mm-hmm. People are comfortable saying, "Oh, look, that's so stupid." Blah blah blah. People don't want to hear that pretty 23-year-old girls can also struggle with substance use, and that's devastating because that's exactly what that is.
Yeah, they dehumanized her. Like they just
They objectified her for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Here's in the article, it says her MySpace page featured dozens of photos of her in the bikini posing with friends and family. I love modeling, she wrote on MySpace. It's something that I have enjoyed doing, and I'm still looking forward for some work.
And like
this was before.
Yeah, and they call it like ooh la la pics in this article.
They call it ooh la la pics.
Yeah, they said, hold on, where's it at?
What does that got to do?
Complete with a number of ooh la la pictures of her in bikinis.
Where are these?
Who wrote that article?
Probably, but they just generalized it with the Gazette staff.
Oh, Gazette staff. Okay.
And like, here's the thing, men that are listening: we don't hate men.
No.
Like, actually,
we're actually going to have some male,
yeah, and the thing,
males on here.
Because here's the thing: is like, I'm pro human beings. Like, I think, like, I mean, I definitely have a lot of feminist views, because I definitely see the unjust. However, like, I've also have several men near and dear to my heart that have been through the system, who were treated very poorly. And, but like this right here, she did not get her story told. She got made to look exactly how they wanted her to look. This pretty, mean girl.
Manipulating. Like she manipulated, knew
exactly. She was the mastermind of the whole thing is what she wanted. But like I said, again, if you were to put 23-year-old struggling drug addict, who actually...
She would have got less time.
Let me read you what she said about it. Her blog, she talks about...
She doesn't at the age of 23, her little MySpace. Now, y'all, this is back in the day. This is when
kids.
This is when MySpace was,
you don't even know about MySpace.
This is when MySpace was popping, right?
Yeah, when you got to have them top 10, you know who your real friends.
Yeah, you know what your real friends. Your friends was on the first floor, top 10 or 5.
Top 8. Was it top 8?
Top 8.
Top 8.
Mm-hmm.
And if you weren't on that top 8, get out.
Yeah. You wasn't in the crew.
If you're beefing with your friends, you knew.
I wish Facebook would did it because I need to put some of y'all in y'all's place.
Okay. You need to know about yourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, but she would use her MySpace to talk about her substance use, trauma. I'm sorry. That's her ways to make ends meet, struggles with daily life.
And yet they didn't add any of that in the articles. They wrote about it.
They didn't
add past drug use.
How she said she's in a bad point in her life right now. She's scared to death. Her friend was murdered. She said tomorrow morning she's going to go turn herself in. They issued a warrant. She knew what she did was wrong. So she was very self-aware, but no one wants to talk about that because, again, you can't be a villain if you have accountability.
Woo! And this podcast is over.
You can't be a villain if you got accountability.
It's just a sad deal. Like,
and and like I said before, not saying what she did was right, not at all.
No.
What I'm saying is.
And do you not think she doesn't hate herself because she identifies him as a friend?
Every day.
Every single day she has to say, my
day.
substance use got in the way, and I essentially helped murder my friend.
Every day. To the point where she doesn't do meth today.
Right.
She knew that meth led her into this situation. So and believe me, there's plenty of meth on Mabel Bassett yards. There's more meth in there than there is out here. Promise you that. So it's a thing that she doesn't mess with it. She doesn't use because she knows that this is what happens. This is the person I am.
She's been reformed on her own. On her own. Because she knew that if she rotted in there like everyone else, and Mabel Bassett eventually gives into the temptation. I mean, she knew that this was an accident probably, and that if she kept doing meth, that she would probably end up dead in there.
And didn't she say in one of her blogs, she was like, if I had not did drugs,
Yes.
I wouldn't be
Yep.
be in this position today.
That's actually as she's getting ready to turn herself in. She said, I'm in a bad point in my life right now, and I'm scared to death. My friend was murdered, and I'm one of the witnesses. Okay, then it says tomorrow morning I'm going to turn myself in because they issued a warrant out for my arrest because I was too scared to go talk to the detectives by myself again without a lawyer. I know I'm going to be in jail for a minute, and trust me, this is not going to be easy thing for me to do. I hate that I'm involved in this shit, and it's all got to be what did she say? And it's all got to do with drugs. If I had not been where I was buying drugs, then I would not be involved at all.
So she recognized that from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
Recognized that from the jump. And she turned herself in. And, what really, and I understand if you cooperate with the police, you get a little 2 years off your sentence, 5 years off your sentence. But really irritates me is the third accomplice is James, is it Miss McCandless?
Yeah.
James. He was 25. He cooperated with the police and told them what happened, and they gave him 30 years. And there was 4 people involved altogether. Jesse, Bradley, and Terry, they all got 35 years. So...
And are serving 85% of that.
Yeah, everybody's serving 85%. And the person who actually pulled the trigger and killed the victim got 30 years. And actually killed the victim, got 30, and everybody else got 35. So...
And we know that, that's, nothing compared to the family that has to live every day without their loved one.
Absolutely.
But at the same time,
Absolutely.
There's injustice in that as well. I not with the victim's family, that's completely separate. I feel for them, and I even pray that they, at this point have found peace and they're able to move on or live differently. I am a firm believer that you don't move on from a lost loved one. You just learn to live differently.
Mm-hmm.
But to punish this pretty girl for just being a pretty girl that was in the wrong place at the wrong time that harshly, we got to look at that. That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have time to talk about public defender problems, but
I know.
I see some of these other states that have really good public defenders. And I'm like, how do we get those?
And I mean, and like I've said, before, she was at the wrong place at the wrong time for a murder. She wasn't at the wrong place at the wrong time for a robbery.
Right.
So give her what? I was incarcerated with plenty of girls. I know. I robbed a convenience store and got 8 years. So give her that time. Give her the time that because she was at the right place in the right time for a robbery because she set it up.
Right.
That's my best friend. I'm just going to be just honest, and she would tell you the same. Yeah, I set up this robbery, and I deserve time. So give her that robbery time. But why are y'all making it seem like she set up a murder?
Right.
That she went to really hurt this man. And as I'm reading the article, all of them saying, we did not mean to kill the man. Terry didn't even know there was weapons involved. Terry didn't even know weapons were involved. And I know her personally. That's my sister in Christ. And that's for real. I mean that with everything in me. I've never seen any murder, anything murderous about her. You know what I'm saying?
How, some people just have that antisocial personality.
Yeah, that was you can kind of sense.
Ted Bundy.
Yeah, you can kind of sense, oh, okay,
also, unpopular opinion, he wasn't attractive.
You said he wasn't attractive.
He only, I think, became attractive when Zac Efron played his role, and I'm like, well, that's because of Zac Efron.
It was Zac Efron.
But I digress.
But
so
yeah. I can't wait to hear Terry's interview. This is going to be amazing.
And it's going to be on the 12th. Yeah.
We're doing part 2 on the 12th?
No, we're
releasing.
Yeah, her interview, her interview is getting released here on the 12th, and it's just a little introduction on who she is, what she's there for. We're planning on doing a part 2. That's if she's willing. She's going to be willing, but doing a part 2 just to get more into detail about things. But I can't wait. This is just a little introduction so y'all can understand what we're doing. You know, we're just bringing awareness to so many things.
And if you guys have questions or, ideas or anything, throw them at us.
Yeah.
Please.
Hit us up
message
on the
us.
Facebook page, yeah.
Please, because we'll answer back. So.
Sometimes I don't know how to work my messenger.
Yeah. Thank you for your time.